So thank you very much for joining us this evening for Capturing the Moment with Debbie and John, who are both photographers, but they also are paddlers with West Cork Kayak Club. And I think John is also a member of Phoenix.
That's great.
So he does a lot of paddling. So tonight we are recording this webinar and it will be shared on the Canoeing Ireland YouTube channel over the next couple of weeks. We'll post updates on social media once they're available there to look at. So I'm going to go over now to Debbie and John, and if you have any questions, you can type them into the question box in the chat box at the end, and we'll come to the questions at the end. So great presentation ahead of us tonight. Thanks, Debbie. Thanks, John. You can take it away there.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm just gonna show you a few slides, and me and John are just gonna have a conversation really about photography and how we like to use it when we're paddling. And so what we're going to look at is capturing the moment, so a little bit of how you do photography. Nothing too technical, but just saying that, you know, this is what we do, and it's a good vehicle for us to get over what we want to put across. So how you use photography to build your community, photography for coaching, educating and training, getting the best from your equipment. And then John is going to give us a lot of information on action cams, drones, cameras, phone, a little bit then about file management and storage, and hopefully you'll have some questions for us at the end. So really, I've always been a landscape photographer, and for me, photography is a vehicle for expressing what those landscapes mean to me. So instead of really a landscape, it's my inscape that I'm getting across when I'm taking photographs and showing them to people. So photography for me is where I can show the emotions that I feel and my connectiveness to nature, and that's how I express it sometimes when I don't have any words. And photography really is also, it gives me an opportunity to express how sometimes I feel something, like I feel part of something that's much bigger than myself. And so we all have a narrative and we all have a story to tell, and I just tend to do it through images, not through words. So I'm going to share some of those with you. So why photography? It's a way of telling a story. So it might be about wildlife, it might be about landscapes, but it's also something that you can use to talk about communities and to build communities. It's also really useful for environmental conservation and for science. So rather than tagging and picking up things, I mean, this is a really poor example here that somebody's picked this echinoderm out of the loch and they're taking a photograph of it. If you look at the photograph next to it, it's actually in situ. So photography is used in environmental sciences and in environmental conservation a lot, rather than damaging or tracking. You just take photographs and you can catalogue and you can look and you can use it for science, for data. So really it's a way of collecting data. So my particular favorite environment would be where the land meets the sea, because that really gives us an opportunity for beautiful photographs, and weather systems give us beautiful light, but the sea really does give us something really special. So I really concentrate on still photography, and it's usually, I like to get in and capture just the essence of something. So if you look at the goose barnacles here, to me that really shows me everything I wanted on that beach. It just expresses something really, really beautiful. And then what I do is I turn it into video. So I'm just going to show you a few stills here. So most of those images that I took were with a 600mm lens usually, and I'd stand right on the edge, right on the shoreline, and just try not to get anything wet. But sometimes it's the winter sun that is really, really beautiful when you're taking pictures of waves. You can really get some nice captures in it. So that's my take on photography. But then I think one of the things we do really well at West Cork Kayak Club is we use photography to build our community. So we have a lot of images, and we also use quite a bit of video. So I'm just going to show you this video here. And John, do you want to talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, okay.
About how you take it. So I'll just start and show it here. So
basically, I like stills as well, but I try and record trips I go on, especially with the kayak. You're out with nature, it's beautiful. You're seeing things that most other people can't see because they're looking at it from the other angle, and you're in the sea looking in at them. And we normally head out early and just we've seen everything from dolphins, porpoises, and seals regularly, and it's otters. It's lovely. But the cameras that I find that work best with the kayaks are not the ones that Debbie uses. They're brilliant and they're the better cameras and they create the better pictures, but you really need to be on land and they need to be minded a bit. Whereas generally the old GoPro, you can shove it on your head, take a few shots. All right, it's a little bit the same old because they're all wide angle shots, but it's good for catching scenery. The new GoPros not only are good in resolution and colors, they stabilize the footage a little bit, especially if you're not nodding your head like a donkey, which I do. But anyway, that just means I got to edit it out. But let's say for kayaks, when you're doing sea kayaking, I reckon there's 3 types of cameras that you could use. One is it's an Olympus tough camera. It's about the size of cigarette box, whatever they look like. I haven't seen one in 20 years. Do they still make them? Whatever, anyway. About that size, but it's got a zoom lens, stabilization, goes down a few meters underwater. But it just means if a seal pops up a few feet in front of you, you can zoom in on his, right in his face and his eyes, and you can see it crystal clear, where you can't with the GoPro cameras. And that camera is waterproof. There's also a 360 camera. A friend of mine in West Cork Kayaking Club is very interested. He brings an awful lot of people out, and he does an awful lot of teaching. Tash, everyone knows him, and he's very interested. He has the standard GoPro camera, but he's very interested in benefiting from the 360 camera because basically you can pick what footage you want to. If there's somebody behind you, you can use that footage. If you come up to a lovely hollow in the rock or a cave, you can, without having to look up, you just pick that footage out afterwards. And it's a camera that I'm going to get myself and put it to use, especially on scenic trips. So that's where it comes in brilliant for this one. I probably spoiled the music, but
I might put a bit of sound on there for you again.
Yeah. Trip like this is that I forget someone, I miss out on someone, and I'm in trouble.
Okay. I'm just going to move on to the next one. So John, we'll talk a little bit more about your drones and action cams a bit later on, but So really, that's a really nice video that we have on our website as well. So it's just an indication of the kind of trips that we do. So we have, I think, maybe 3 or 4 gone up on the website lately, John, and maybe there'll be some more coming. But it takes a lot to edit, doesn't it? There's a lot of work goes into it.
That is the drawback with video. Stills is an easy way out. You can take the picture, and you will even notice some of the people in the club, the picture sent while they're on the boat. Definitely by the time they've landed. It's not the same with video, because you got to cut out all the times you were looking at your toes and all the stupid things you said to someone, repeating yourself or something.
How long would it, for a video that long, was about 5 minutes, I think, John. How much editing time went into that?
That could take 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. It would do.
Because you would have been out for 4 or 5 hours on the day. You got to at least look at it once to try and make sure you got all the right bits. And then you're trying to match it, that you don't have a jump cut where it kind of looks a bit too wrong. That where did that come from? And then you're resizing it down, and you're maybe cropping out a bit, because what's desperate is you get droplets on the screen, and you got a lovely bit of footage, but you got this big glowing water drop which you can't see because the camera's on your head. So that's the benefit of video is amazing, but you need to have time afterwards. And
also when you're out on a trip, you're concentrating on taking the video, John, as well, and you're not getting any lunch, are you?
That happens more with the drone. But what I do, I reckon every time I've ever fallen in, it was because of the camera.
Okay. Okay. So celebrating what we do. So these are just some really nice images that we put up all the time. Every trip there's something goes out. And it's really nice if you're not able to go, because it can just encourage you to go back. You know, if you haven't been kayaking for a while, or if you haven't been too well or something, and you see images going up, it really inspires you to get back and get back out there. So it's really good in that way. So our WhatsApp group, we have lovely stuff. We have the Special Olympics goes up, and any of the events, like some of the charity events that we do, all goes on to the WhatsApp group. And Facebook as well. We use Facebook for events and for meets and for info. So again, it's just really good to have nice images, and images that are close-ups of people are probably better for social media, you know, rather than scenic shots, because it's about connecting with your community and just showing the kind of positive energies that people have is really positive and great for Facebook and Instagram. So we use quite a lot of photography for training and education. I think it's something that we maybe don't utilize enough. But John, if I play one of these, do you want to say, will I play one first?
Like I envy you, because this footage and this and the way you take it, and using the light with the different lenses and a good camera far outshines a GoPro. A GoPro or a waterproof camera, or one of those little cameras you put on your helmet, have uses, but they're not as pretty. Like this would be like something that you'd see in a movie.
Yeah.
You can create that. You can do brilliant things with the GoPro. We'll see more in a minute, but it's not at this level.
Okay, so I'm just going to play this one. So, I mean, if somebody was trying to practice and learn some skills, it's very good to have some shots to show to them later on. And I know people learn from what they do. And one of the best ways of learning is just looking back and seeing, and have a conversation about it when you're playing it back.
Yeah.
And then if I show this one, look at that lovely boat. So yeah, I mean, even though as soon as Pa goes over, he's setting up for his role, he doesn't quite make it, but you can see, if you were to play that again to somebody who's learning, it's a really good example of how to deal with something straight away. So he's setting up straight away there, and he's just doesn't quite make it. But
the current's quite strong there.
But it's something that a video like that is really good to use to show somebody, so there's really good opportunities for training and education. Do you want to say any more about that, John?
No, but I just think, like, if you can put little clips, what I think, if you really want to create something magical, if you can include some footage from cameras like this, some footage from a camera somebody's with. Could you imagine having, that's Pa, if Pa had that on a helmet cam on, and you were able to clip both bits together, and then maybe a drone flying over at the same time, and you took little pieces out of all, that would be very, very impressive. And to be, you kind of see it from every angle. That's all.
Maybe that's something we'll look at doing, John, because you know, that would be it'd be really good to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to move on. So how to get the most from your GoPro, your drone, your camera, and your phone. So these are all the options we have. These is all the equipment that we have. So I think, John, do you want to say about drones?
Yeah, just know that's a very, very expensive waterproof drone, and they go fishing from it and drop cameras down, and you can wind it back up. I just meant to show it. It's if somebody had a business and they want to look at boats, they use it for checking drugs being brought into Antwerp and stuff, because they're starting to put things stuck onto the ship, and they use these with cameras and drop them in. All right, but like it's a long. But there is a version of this that's about €400, and I think for people who do rivers, it's amazing, because let's say the DJI products, the basic drones, they're lovely, they're great if you go out to one of the islands and you're there and you're not interfering with birds nesting and stuff like that. You got to be careful the time of year, but you just do a little scenery shot and you can see beautiful ruins and stuff like that might be on the island, and those little drones are brilliant for that, but they're no good to bring going down a river. So there's another drone that's it's like this, only it's 400, still €400. But if you had a few guys chucked in that do a lot of river, you can fly it and twill go out quite a long distance. But the benefit is it'll fall in the river because we'll hit a branch, but it just comes back up again. It's made to go in the water. And that, I think, is a huge progression, and it's only come out this year. But I've seen a few important races, Gorilla or something, or something very important over in America. It looks frightening. I don't know how people go down it, but I saw those drones being used by crew there. And well, Americans are always first to use these things, and they're invented over there anyway, and they sell it to there. But I can definitely see people locally who do rivers and who want to go scouting the river, that this would make sense for them. That's basically what I say about drones. Okay. They're nice. They give a nice picture. That's and a different view. And that's it. Like it's a cross.
Well, I just play this one, John, and you can talk a little bit about. This is one of your drones, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I just it can give you something different. Before you had to go up in a helicopter or a plane, it cost a lot of money, and they were always up too high. Where a drone, I meet people with drones and they want to put their drone up at 1,000 feet. No, it's illegal. You can only go up to 400 feet. But I do 99.9999% of all my work around 50 to 100 feet. Just looks way better.
Yeah.
But what it is, especially what I noticed with drones, is you see the most boring program on TV that you might have seen before, but they're after kind of doing something to it and vamping it up a bit, and they stick in a few drone clips, and it kind of can make something. It can make something that's beautiful look brilliant, but it can even make something that's not so beautiful look good, because you're seeing it in a different angle. That's all.
Okay. So John, here's the action cam.
Yeah. Right, the action cam. Now, we mentioned GoPro. I'm sorry about that. GoPro is very good. They were the leaders. They're quite expensive. Like if somebody was saying to me that they wanted to get a GoPro, I wouldn't go for the newest one unless they were a professional camera person, because it has a few things, but you could go away, and the newest one is 11. It's a GoPro 11, but they got ones going back to GoPro 8. They're perfect. They got brilliant color, 4K color, and they got stabilization, which means when you're shaking your head all the time, the camera's straight. It'll kind of make it as if you're not shaking your head, because that's sickening. So from an end up, but there are alternatives. Let's say, for instance, the 360, the R&DS. That's brilliant, and it's also got, like, you got the camera. If you're just doing sea kayaking, you only need the camera. It's waterproof as it is. But I reckon if you are doing rivers or stuff where there's going to be high impact, you really need the case. And it just, but they all come with cases. They don't do action cameras without also giving you the option of a case. Another very good one is the DJI Action Camera 3. Now, even that in its newest guise is over €100 cheaper than the GoPro, and it's equally as good. That's no right. What you got to watch out as well with GoPros and stuff like that is they do stills and they'll do videos, and actually even the newer ones you can do live feed. So you could be filming an event, and it can go straight onto Facebook as you're doing it, and they can do little things like that, and so can drones. But most people are going to take the footage off, and it's going to be video, and they're going to need to edit it. That's where you either need a good phone, very good phone, or a good computer, especially if you go into the 4K realms. I reckon a lot of people buy the 4K. It's the in buzzword, but it allows you to zoom in afterwards, and you could go in like 4 times as much at something that's in the distance, and it would still be equal to 1080, like a high definition TV, and it would be more than enough for people to see.
And what would you be paying for something like that, John?
Pardon?
What would you be paying?
Like the version 8, I think, is around €300. Right?
Yeah.
The 9 is 350 or 360, but the version 10, they're getting up towards the 500, right? Okay. But like but right, what are you getting for that? You not only get a camera, but you get software, and the software allows you to edit without having to buy any other software, and it's kind of made for that camera to make editing a lot easier, either on your phone or your iPad or your if you have a tablet or computer, either one. There are other ones there. Look, you can probably buy ones for less than 200 quid.
Yeah,
they'll definitely work if you're only doing kayaking and trips. Where I wouldn't use them is going down rivers and waterfalls and stuff. Not that I can go down a waterfall. I only walk down waterfalls. But I mean, if you can go down waterfalls, I wouldn't use one of those.
Okay.
To take the pressure.
Okay. Should we move on, John, and have a look at one? Look at this one. This is your boys, isn't it?
Well, one lad is my son here, this guy.
Okay.
And they use the GoPros, which I think is a brilliant thing. They became very good, very quick. Not because I gave out to them, because they don't listen, but because they use the cameras to look at the footage and see what they were doing wrong, and go back the following week and correct it. It was like being at school, but they enjoyed it. And they'd watch things like the angle of the blade, and you're too slow here and this, and then they'd go back. And they did get quite good, quite quick. So it's good as a tool.
Yeah. Just watch it through there, John.
That's nice to have.
Better class. Yo, what do you do to the back of that kayak?
Oh, sorry. I lost it there.
That's okay. That's it. Kind of, yeah. Wouldn't mind out. This is the camera I have here, and they probably bought that camera 3 years ago. Like, it's still perfect, and once I don't lose it like I did one already, they'll get another few years out of it.
What can I say? Yeah, very close, very close.
Sound isn't brilliant on these. It just clogs up with water, but I suppose that's not the purpose.
Do it again.
As you can see, they work into the dark hours of the night. There's no going home early. That's dedication.
Okay, so
That was a flying kayak.
okay, so we have a little bit of footage here, John. This is where you did a day trip with an action cam, isn't it? Will we just
Yeah.
show a little bit of it?
You can, yeah. All I try and do is show where we started from, show a few points along the way that we kind of pulled into and nice little features and make it short. A lot of people, they do a video and they're going to do a 5-hour trip and they're going to show you 5 hours. Like, little is better.
Yeah.
With editing.
And again, there's quite a few hours editing gone into this, isn't it, John?
Yeah, but like what I find is I'll play it here and I'll have TV on in the background. See, there's the droplets that I'm talking about. That can rule a good picture. Where somebody said, where's the picture of me there? And I kind of go, well, there's a droplet over your head. You look like a spaceman. Do you mind? But anyway, I kind of normally just edit when there's something on telly. I never find anything riveting enough to make me kind of just sit down and look at telly anyway. So I'm looking for something else to do. So I normally do my editing then, if people can wait. But normally I'm getting texts on the way home. We're dying to see the video, John.
Okay. Okay. Just give a little bit more sound that.
The night train singing in the distance. Baby.
Better videos, sorry if I cut you off, sorry Debbie. The better videos are the ones that I've done lately, but look, that's in part 2. Where I use still footage and I linked a bit of drone footage with it. And it just gives you a real view of where you are, and you could kind of feel it a lot better. And if we had Debbie's camera with us, David Attenborough would have been looking for us.
Wait a minute, just a little bit longer. It's all up to me and you. Wait a minute, just a little bit longer. It's all up to me and you. Wait a minute, just a little bit longer.
Okay, so just move on from that one. So we're going to talk a bit about phones. So phones really have just everything you need for social media. So the resolution is high enough on most phones now just to go direct onto WhatsApp. I mean, it's instant, it's immediate. But a lot of people don't look at the phones, and you can learn some really good features in there. It's a case of just playing around with it, looking at settings. Very few people actually do that, but if you do, there's like nighttime settings and things like that. It's really good, and you can get nice portraiture ones. So have a look at the different features, play around with it. One of the best things about a phone is you can upload immediately. You can edit it quickly. You can add notes and call outs, but the big question is it waterproof? John, you had something to say about phones.
Yeah, thanks. Sean Lynn, in fairness, got back to me with a brilliant case that he uses, and he gets it from photocase.com. And like he's in the water all the time, and he never has a problem with his phone, and it looks brilliant. So, you know, because there's when you go looking online, everyone and their dog are selling a brilliant case. So it's great to have someone who's had experience with one, and to get good feedback. So that's all I'd like to say.
Didn't he lose it for a week and it was retrieved?
Yeah, he fell into the into the water up by the Lee, and a girl, an aqua diver, came back the following week and pulled the camera out, and it was perfect. He still the phone out, and he still uses perfect.
I wonder, did he have many missed calls?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so we have action cams, we have drones, we have lots and lots of stuff out there. But for me, the still camera still gives the best image. And again, is it waterproof? Is it splash proof? It's only a matter of time before it gets wet. We were discussing this the other day, John, weren't we? That you can have pelican cases, you know, you can get housings for them, but the salt eventually gets in, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, the housings, no, because let's say all the guys who do surfing, you'd have guys who'd come along with a very, probably more like a bridge camera, but something similar to yours, just slightly smaller. And they'd be doing stills, but they'd have sea frog casing or something like that. But the casing might be £1,000, but they're in the water all the time and they sell their pictures and it's professional. Now you can get some casings for £200 or £300, but it's more. Yeah,
and that's this one at the top, isn't it?
That's the top ones, but you'd want to be like into microbiology, or you know, you'd want to have web feet or something to get something like that, you know.
Yeah, and the camera just sits inside that, doesn't it?
Yeah, you'd have to sell the kayak to get that. That's not worth it.
Some wouldn't that.
Spoils.
Okay. So, John, memory. So we need to talk a little bit about memory.
Yeah. Right. So, like, basically, 4K. I'm going to put on glasses here now to look at what this is saying, because
is this for your GoPro? Very small.
I put in a few things, like 1 hour of footage. Am I okay talking? All right. Sorry, Debbie. 1 hour of 1080 footage, which is high definition, right? Which is still very, very sharp. And it's when you even do 4K, you reduce it generally down to 1080 anyway, because most people don't have a 4K screen. You really can't see the difference. But anyway, so 1 hour of 1080 uses up 23 gigabytes of space on your card. So that also now has got to go on your computer or your phone. But 1 hour of 4K video uses up 45 gigabytes on your card and on your phone. Plus, if you're editing 4K, you need a minimum of 16 megs of RAM on your computer, or it's going to keep sticking. You like a 5-minute video is going to take you 5 days, right?
Okay,
There is some, I'm going to mention these as they're here. Say me putting the glasses back on and I'm squinting looking. There are some free editing, video editing. iMovie is great for Macs, or there's Wondershare. Filmora is the PC equivalent. Very, very good, especially for just using one camera. You know, if you're not syncing 2 or 3 cameras at the one time. DaVinci Resolve is free as well, and it has benefits. For retouching pictures, it's a desperate name. But Photoshop, you got to pay for it, and you got to pay a subscription. If you're doing a lot of stuff, great. But if you're not, GIMP, G-I-M-P, is it's very good. I have used it at times when I had other computers that were not Mac and I needed something to do something.
And that's free, isn't it, John?
It's free, yeah. But what I'm going to say something here that a lot of people miss out on. If you buy a Canon or a Nikon camera, the software you get, or a Sony, the software you get with that camera, you can't beat it. It's better than Photoshop. It's better than it only works with your camera. Or your make a camera, like a Canon, if it's Canon software, like digital photo for the Canon. But it will do everything that Photoshop will do, and it will do almost everything. But there'll be things you'll never need.
Most of the editing that you want, won't it?
Every bit of it, and it will do all the. It's the same as Lightroom as well. To do all that, and they also have places for editing video on it. So if you get a camera, you just probably, before you come as a disc in the box, no, you just log on to the website, Canon or Nikon or whoever, punch in the number of your camera and download.
Download the software, Okay, so image size, John, we're going to talk a bit about that. So raw images gives you the option of correcting. So it's a raw image is a very big file, but you can do a lot more with it. So if you need to, but you need to process it and you need to have the software to do that. What do you want to say about raw imaging, John?
No, but again, like the software that you get free with your camera, the Canon software will work with raw images. And you can turn that then when you're finished into a JPEG and give it to people. But it allows you, if you make mistakes and the picture's a bit dark or it's a bit washed out, RAW will let you pull back those colors and turn it into a perfect picture.
Yeah. And if you go and printing something, a raw image is really good because you have more control over the editing and putting some warmth into it or whatever you want to do. But if you want to send something straight away, you need to use a JPEG. And also, if you're inputting into, say, a Word document, it needs to be a JPEG.
Yeah.
And then anything can open it and you can use it in any application.
Yeah.
So really, we were talking the other night, John, about image size. And so anything over 15 megabytes or at least 4 is good, because you print up to maybe A4 size from that, couldn't you?
Well, you'll go beyond A3 with the new printers now. You'll go beyond, you'll get bigger, you'll get A3, no problem, with a 15 megabyte file. And
Yeah,
like if you were somewhere and a whale pops out of the water and you get that shot, you'd be hoping that you at least got 15 megabytes, because you're going to have a picture that no one else has.
Yeah.
And it's easy to reduce it down if you just want to send it by phone. And I'd say one other thing: if you take a picture in RAW to give it to people or to do anything with it, you just, when you're into the software, you just save it then as a JPEG. And then it's the same as if you had taken with a JPEG, but it had given you the ability to tweak the colors.
So you just keep the master copy of it then if you want to. I mean, I mostly, if I'm shooting with my nice camera, I usually just shoot in RAW all the time. Just because if you don't, it's that one shot that you're going to miss. You know, so, but if you're printing for magazines or for a wall display, you need a large file with high definition. Okay. So editing and file management. So editing time, as we said earlier, takes ages. If someone's taken high-res images on a trip, don't expect them immediately, because you have to work them up, you have to change them. Likewise with a drone video or an action cam, takes a lot of time to edit. Some of the software I like to use is Lightroom, because you take a lot of images and then they're all over the place, and it's really nice to be able to catalog them and to get some kind of file management and order into them. And it's something that I'm not great at, but I find Lightroom is very good, because you can actually put stars and you can put what your favorites are, and then you can just search. So if you catalog everything with a key name to it, say lighthouses, if you want to find one, you just search and it goes through the whole catalog and pulls them up for you, instead of you going through files and files and files. But Lightroom also allows you to share and upload really quickly. Anything else, John?
No, you've said it all. Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing is, I mean, a lot of people are spending money on doing photography courses, and there's loads of online courses, but really anything you need to know is on YouTube. And you just Google what you want to know and you'll find a tutorial, a really good one, about any aspect of photography. There's just so much free stuff out there. There's no need to be paying for it, you know. So linking back for photography, when you're going out, what are you going to take your pictures for? What's your purpose? Is it for social media? Is it just because you, like myself, you like taking images? These kinds of questions will say to you, what gear do you need? What are you going to take with you? Then you have to think about how you're going to transport it, how you're going to use it. So it's like we were talking about taking a still camera out. Like John said to me, the best thing to do is to put it in a Pelican box, store it away, and then when you get back on land, use it. Don't kind of carry it around your neck. It's just, it's not going to work, is it, John?
No. Well, that's why, like, another camera that I'm eager to get is this Olympus Tough camera. I think it won best sports waterproof camera for 3 years in a row. It's about 400 euros, but will nearly do what Debbie did with the pictures that she took, because it's got telephoto lens, and you can go underwater with it. You can get water, splash water, so it kind of gives you a bit more leeway. Plus, when the lens pops itself in, it'll fit in your pocket.
And which one is that, John?
That's the Olympus Tough TG6. We had a slide for it, but got nicked. So, okay. The Olympus TG6.
So
it does video and stills.
So really, so photography is a vehicle for connecting nature, people, and place. It's all about capturing the essence and the energy and catching memories. So just get out there and share it with everybody. Do you have anything else to say, John?
No, I'm out of words now.
I'm out of words, me too. Okay, so thanks very much. Have you any questions? John?
No.
It's all yours.
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Thanks very much, guys. I have a lot to learn there. I'm responsible for a lot of dodgy editing and photographs and videos. So I'm going to have a look here, and if anyone has questions, if they could just type them into the Q&A box there, and we'll go through a few questions and answers now with Debbie and John. So the first one there is for Joe. Any hints on how to remember to charge your battery before your trip?
Take a spare.
Yeah, and what I do is I bring they all connect up with USB, so I charge them in the car when I'm driving somewhere. But don't worry, I got caught too numerous times. So a lot of people are looking at this and they're having a good laugh now. But since then, I charge them in the car when I'm traveling out on the road, just in case I get caught. But a second battery is a great benefit, and they don't last long. They definitely, especially with video, they don't last long.
Okay.
Yeah, or maybe pop a reminder into your phone, a little alarm to remember the night before to plug it in and leave it near the front door so you don't forget it.
Okay.
I have another question there from Gus. Can you share the name of the waterproof phone case that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, I just sent this on to me, just in fairness to the man. He says it's with punkcase.com.
Say that again?
P-U-N-K,
Punk
case. Punkcase.com. And look, there's a few people that know Sean Lynn, and they've all got. I've seen them all with it. It's like he's like a good advert for it, and I'm going to get one of them myself as well too when I stop spending.
Yes, you have a big shopping list. Another question there. What was the website for the good phone case? So I presume that's the Punk case. Do you know where?
Yeah, phone case.
buy
Yeah,
it?
yeah. It's my
And do you know the website where to buy it?
punkcase.com.
Oh, punkcase.com. Okay, that's
Yeah.
easy.
Sorry,
Perfect.
not phone case. Sorry, Punk
Punk.
case. P-U-N-K. Yeah.
UNK.
Yeah, sorry.
Case.com. Perfect. Any advice about white balance settings?
What's that? All right. I generally leave it on automatic.
Yeah.
And I'd only change it when I'm using two cameras and I want to balance the two cameras. I'll go into there's normally a Kelvin setting, and I'll take a picture, look at it and say, yeah, that's the color I perceive it to be. And I put both cameras on the same setting. So let's say if I have a drone then and a camera on the helmet cam, it's seamless. There's no jump in color. But if I'm not doing that, if I just have a one camera
Keep it on auto.
situation, the auto color's gone very, very good.
Yeah.
I just have just a comment in from Caroline there. She has the Olympus Tough camera, the one you mentioned, and she said it's amazing.
Yeah.
She prefers it to the GoPro.
Much better.
Because she's making the choice of the photograph she's taking. And I was actually out paddling with Caroline at the weekend, and she was taking photos on her Olympus Tough, and I was taking them on my iPhone through a dodgy old case, and her photos were far superior to mine.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Any other questions there if you want to type them into the chat? I don't see any other questions coming through there. If they come through just before we finish, I will read them out. But I just want to thank everyone that's logged in tonight. That was brilliant. Thanks a million to both of you for giving up your time tonight to deliver that. And as I mentioned earlier,